5 righteous reads you have got to pick up. Blasted through my reading this week, and these are the 5 that stood out in a major way. Principles of Necromancy here, Jackson Lansing, and also Eamon Winkle. This is a wild fantasy horror story about this Dr. Eyes, whose eyes have been removed, and it's this body horror torture tale of his wild experiments on people back in a more ancient and sort of fantastical time. But the real winner of this is Eamon Winkle. This art in this book really blew my mind. It is visceral, it is graphic, it immediately takes you into this wild story, and there's literally just nothing that you have read like this here. Magma Comics for the win. Again, highly recommend. Ain't No Grave, Scotty Young, Jorge Corona. Man, what a great lineup. They did such good work in Middle West. And this is a haunting, wildly sort of depressing book here about this woman who is trying to save her family. She'd been an outlaw and a killer before. She got married, had a child, tried to correct her ways, swings back in her old ways in an attempt to save her family. She goes all the way into hell to try and slay death, and then things don't go quite exactly as planned. I got it with this cool signature art. Is just absolutely mind-blowing. The pacing of it is tremendous. The color work here, something you have got to check out. A one-off story here by 2 great masters. Doll Parts from the World of Lovesick. Whoa. Now this story here by Luana Vecchio, whoa, I cannot tell you how much of a gut punch this story is. Holy cow. This is the origins of the woman who becomes her character in Lovesick, and it is a haunting ride here. You start this book and you're not quite prepared for how it's going to make you feel. I mean, Luana knows how to make a story. Her Lovesick book, I mean, it leveled you. It is haunting, it is horrific, it is wildly explicit. It deals with all sorts of sexual depravity and also abuse. There is definitely a conflicted and troubled mind at the heart of this story here, of this young girl who's being overexposed to sex and also to this perverted man who is killing these girls at her dance academy, and how she's trying to grow up in this horrifying time. Luana's art, incredible. She writes it, she colors it, she illustrates it, she letters it. She's the whole package. Really somebody who I feel like has Daniel Warren Johnson potential when she can deliver this kind of art and this kind of storytelling all in one brain here. In Bloom, Michael Conrad, John Pearson. Whoa. This is an interesting story here. This is about a futuristic time where human beings have started to blossom and bloom and grow these plants out of the sides of their heads and faces. And instead of people being revulsed by it, it's becoming popular and the thing to do. And there are these anti-bloomers and people coming after them. And there begins to be these serial murders that are taking place in this world. And there's this detective, someone who is not bloomed, and his partner who has bloomed, who's then hunting this down. This detective has all these scars on their face from an attack. There's intrigue, there's prostitution, there's all these wild things that he's going through. This sort of nihilistic view of the future where the plants are sort of consuming the humans again, and a detective trying to wade his way through it. Warm Fusion, Scott Hoffman, and Alberto Pentacelli. Wow. This is an amazing detective story about a guy who is chasing down this serial killer in a futuristic, almost cyberpunk 2077 world here. There are these prostitutes that are being killed and things extracted from them for these dark experiments that are being performed by this doctor. There's this really unique detective who is speaking into this voice box, recording his events. The dialogue for that is really tremendous here. And this type of tale I really love. It's almost a Seven-like story. The leading lady is a prostitute who's missing an arm and a leg and has a cybernetic arm and a cybernetic leg. It has just that hint of this cyber noir future here. And I have loved Distillery for the size of the book. It's 44 pages, it's big, it's magazine style, but it's been a little bit hit and miss on the stories for me. But this one has got my attention.